this lesson is going to be about the technique of playing the guitar. Before we do anything, if you're going to try and play football, for example, you wouldn't try and play football without first of all learning to run. Okay, now the guitar's a bit similar in that aspect, that there's a few things we need to learn before you can actually play full songs. I'm going to start this lesson just by giving you a few little exercises, combinations of notes that should help your technique improve. They're just on the first string and the second string. Okay, it's mainly your left hand that you're using, but there's a little bit of right hand technique that I'll just cover before we get started. You're just really trying to flick the string with your plectrum or your thumb, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Some people use a plectrum, some people use their fingernail or thumb. You just get different sounds from different types of striking the string. I use a combination of both when I'm playing. So you're just flicking the string like that to generate the noise with your right hand. And when we change string, it's important that you take particular care when you change string. I tend to leave my plectrum resting on a string when I'm not playing it. Okay, that way I know exactly where I am, as opposed to if your hand's out here, then when it comes time to play, I know you've got to get it to the string first and then flick it. I leave my plectrum or thumb on the string, and then it's just a case of I'm on the guitar, just plucking it. Okay, take a little bit of extra care when you're changing between strings. Okay, but you should be able to change string without looking. It's just really about feeling. For example, if you want to put your thumb, if you use a plectrum, have your plectrum on the bottom string while your thumb touching the second string, because therefore you've got a reference point for it. Okay, and another thing I want to say about your right hand, don't want to see it moving too much. Try and keep your movement nice and compact. For example, if it's going to take longer for you to do this and bring your hand away out here and then back in, okay, than it is just to flick it a tiny wee amount. Your hand's hardly moving. If you watch my hand, my wrist still, it's just really a wee tiny flick of my wrist. Okay. Now we're going to concentrate on the left hand really. The first exercise we're just doing open, which is written on the sheet as a 0. So it's 0 and then 1, then 0, then 1. It jumps up a string and it's 0 and 1. 0 and 1, it does it again, 0, 1, 0, 1, up a string, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, that exercise is just using the first two strings and you're just using your first finger for it. Okay, if you listen carefully, 0, 1, both notes are the same length. Now, you tend to find that the second note, some people make it shorter than the first. Now that's because you're not holding down for long enough. 0, 1. If you're holding down, the note keeps sounding. Some people start off, they'll go, and the note will die really quickly. That's because you're not holding the note down. If there's no pressure on the note, then the note won't sound. Okay, that's the first exercise. I'll just run through it again, and as you get more proficient at it, you can speed it up. Okay, here we go. Exercise 2 starts off the same on the first string, but when you move to the second string, you're using your second finger. So it's open, then 1, then it's open, then 2, then open, then 1, then open, then 2, then open, then 1, then open, then 2. Okay, again the same principle applies with the pressure. If you let the pressure off, the note will die and it will sound like this. The open string will ring out fine because there's no need for pressure for it to ring, but it will sound like this. And want it to sound like that. Both notes should be the same length. And again with that one you can speed it up as quickly as you want. And with these exercises, the faster you get the better, but don't try and go too fast too quickly because you'll make mistakes. And just try and do it slowly to start with, and if you're doing it correctly there's no reason why you would get any slower at it. You're always going to be getting a little bit faster, and the more you practice it the better you'll get at it. Okay, the next exercise is an open, then a 1, then an open, then a 2. Okay, so it's a combination of the first two exercises, and then it jumps up to the next string and it goes open, then 1, then open, then 2. Okay, so I'll do that through for you. It's open, 1, open, 2, upper string, open, 1, open, 2, open, 1, open, 2, open, 1, open, 2, open, 1, open, 2, open, 1, open, 2. That's exercise 3. Now the reason that we're doing these exercises are to get your fingers working independently. The reason that playing the guitar is so hard is because your fingers aren't used to working independently in everyday life. If you think of all the tasks you do during the day, whether it's brushing your teeth, eating your food, driving a car, your fingers are used to working as groups. They're not used to working independently. So the first thing we need to do is to train your fingers to work independently, and these exercises will be good for that. The fourth one, instead of just 4 notes a string, it's 6. So what we're going to do is we're really just working along the string. So it's open, 1, open, 2, open, 3, upper string, open, 1, open, 2, open, 3, open. Okay, so that's the fourth exercise. Now you notice when I'm doing these exercises, if I'm playing a note in the first fret, I use the first finger. If I'm playing one in the second fret, I use the second finger. Third fret, I use the third finger. I don't want to see you playing a note in the third fret with your second finger, because then what happens if the next note is your first finger and you're struggling? We call it one finger per fret. You've got one finger for each of the frets, 1 to 4, and then 5 you're back to 1 again. Okay, so 1 to 4 and then back to the start when you reach 5. You'll do that exercise again. That's exercise 4. Open, 1, open, 2, open, 3, upper string, open, 1, and again. With that, the better you get at it, the faster you get. Just do it really slowly to start with. Pause the video and just practice it on your own, and then try and join in with me. And don't be worried about doing it too fast, too quickly. It's like everything. If you start it off slowly and you're doing it correctly, there's no reason why you'll get any slower at it. You'll always be getting slightly quicker. Okay? The last exercise, exercise 5, is similar to 4, but you're working back the way. So it's open, 3, open, 2, open, 1, upper string, open, 3, open, 2, open, 1, and again. Okay, that's the last exercise. Now playing the guitar is really all about shapes. Okay, for example, the first exercise covered this shape. Open, 1, that's a shape. Okay, whether you're doing it there or whether you're doing it here, it's the same technique. So doing it there allows you to do it there just as easily. It doesn't matter where you're doing it, your fingers are used to doing it. Okay, so what we're trying to do is get your fingers used to playing different shapes and different combinations of notes on the guitar. That's the hardest part about the guitar, and it can be a little bit boring and a little bit frustrating at the start. But you should take comfort in the fact that what you're doing right now will cover everything that you're going to do in the future. If you've played that shape down there, it's no different to doing it up there. It's just the same shape in a different place. So once we've covered all these shapes, it'll open the guitar up a bit for you. And as I said, I feel that everybody learning the guitar is on a level playing field to start with, because nobody's used to using their fingers individually. Okay, we're all used to using our fingers as a group. When I started playing the guitar, I struggled with these exercises, but I worked hard at them and I got better at them. Okay, so if you do a little bit of work in these, then it will lead you to being able to play different songs on the guitar. Okay, that's the lesson on technique.